On this episode of Why Watch That?
There's Vivian's character, you, who just knows everything.
She's the chemist.
She knows everything.
Right.
Something happens.
Oh, boy.
An emergency.
Oh, gosh.
Okay? And this emergency...
It's what you expect.
Yes. It makes Emma question whether she should be going to Mars.
Right, babe.
The psychology of being with 4 other people and that's it. Going the furthest any human has ever gone in history. Away. I don't care about her feelings. I don't care about who's going to take care of her. I'm not watching the CW. I'm watching a space show.
Is it, Sandra Bullock in Gravity? That's going to be some sort of, Hilary Swank carries the same weight as Sandra Bullock would in Gravity because, we love Hilary Swank and she's an accomplished actress.
Why Watch That is a podcast featuring the critic
and referee who go head-to-head on a quest to discover the best movies
and TV shows Hollywood has to offer. Expect the unexpected from the critic.
Well, nothing gets past the ref.
We do all the work.
So you don't have to. Welcome to Why Watch That. This episode of Why Watch That is supported by Entrepreneur Meal Plan. It helps leaders and professionals feed their bodies and businesses well. Critic, I got a chance to attend a wonderful event by EMP here in Los Angeles. And it was so amazing because Brandy Cochran was able to gather people from all sorts of walks of life. We were able to gather together, have real talk, and some real good food too. It was a hit.
It's food for the soul and the body, which is so hard to find. So if you want to learn more about Entrepreneur Meal Plan, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, go to entrepreneurmealplan.com.
A Why Watch That sneak peek.
We have, interestingly, a sneak peek of a TV series. I love when we do sneak peek of TV because I feel like with film, there's a beginning, middle, and end. It's quick. You'll know right away. But there's a little bit of nuance to getting access to a whole TV show, or at least its season. I'm just excited about that notion. Away will be on Netflix, and it is coming out on September 4th, and it stars a pretty familiar cast, at least a couple folks. Not to mention, well, we'll get to that in a second. It is because it's interesting. It's coming to us from a variety of people. I don't know who the showrunner is. Hold on. Andrew Hinderaker is the creator of Away. It is starring 2-time Oscar winner Hilary Swank. What? Josh Charles is showing up. Well, he's not just showing up. He's really hanging out.
Yeah.
Josh Charles hangs out. I'm going to say some other people, but I just want to say Gabrielle Rose. A really amazing. I forget about her. She's an actress that if you will not know who I'm talking about, but if you look her up, you will see, and no pun intended with see, because I know she's in that that she shows up in bits and pieces, and really, like, whenever she shows up, it's of dire circumstance. I always feel that, so I just wanted to say that. We have young actress Talitha Elena Bateman. Is she a Bateman? I don't know. No, she's not. Not that kind of Bateman, no. Like Jason. And Ato Asando is in it, who I can't think of the last thing that I've seen him in. Mark Evanier is in it. Ray Panthaki, who we met. We met at Sundance. Yeah. He's in it. Vivian Wu is in it as well. Now, there are a number of other people who are also in it, but these are the folks who are, shall we say, spending a lot of time together. spent a lot of time together. So do take it away. We both got a chance to see some of this. I made it through fully episode 1 and 2 and a bit of 3. I did not finish, but you did.
Yeah, so we are in space, my friends. Yes, we are. And when you set something in space, I'm already interested. So we have Hilary Swank playing Emma Green, and Emma is the captain of a mission to Mars, a manned mission, the first manned mission to Mars. And her crew, rounding out the 5, is played by Atto, as you said. His character's name is Kwesi, and he is the biologist. What's going on with that? Mark Evanier plays Misha. He's the guy who does all of the engineering stuff. He's the engineer. And he is also the cosmonaut, astronaut, whatever you want to call them, the man, the person who's had the most time in space in history.
Yeah.
We also have Ray's character, Ram, who's
came at a cost. Sorry, came at a cost.
Came at a cost? Yeah, maybe I'll get to that, maybe.
Yeah.
So Ram, played by Ray, he is second in command. He's also kind of like the psychologist, but not really. And then there is there's Vivian's character, Yu, who just knows everything.
She's the chemist.
She knows everything.
Wait. She does, actually. She
knows everything. So they're the 5 going to Mars for the first time. This is exciting. Now,
how long?
Oh, it's a 3-year trip there and back.
There we go. There we go. Oh my God.
Now, Josh Charles plays Matt Logan. That is Emma's husband.
Oh.
He was on track to go into space as well. There's a reason why he didn't make it, though. He has a disease, a very rare disease that NASA was like, nope, sorry, we know you're okay now, but we can't take the risk. And they have a daughter, her name is Alexis, and she's a teenager. Yeah. Now, when they get into space, they're going to the moon, because you got to, of course, start there before you go to Mars. Something happens.
Oh, boy.
An emergency.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. And this emergency.
It's what you expect.
Yes. It makes Emma question whether she should be going to Mars.
Right.
Now, hold on.
Oh, I can't.
You got on the ship, the spacecraft, knowing that your husband had a disease. Everybody knew it. You got on there. So think about this, everybody. Would you want to be on a spacecraft with someone whose husband is ill? They knew it. They get on there and then they start going, I've got to go back if something bad happens. She is the captain, the commander.
Of an international, though. It's not even just, oh, it's America. Okay, we can come back.
Yeah, because they all come from different parts of the globe. Kwesi is from England via Africa. We have Misha, who's from Russia. We have Ram, who's from India. And you, who's from China. Emma's from the United States, obviously. So, there are interests going on there. So how do you think this affects the crew? So this show is really about the psychology of being an astronaut, the psychology of having a 3-year journey in space, the psychology of leaving behind your loved ones, the psychology of being with 4 other people and that's it, going the furthest any human has ever gone in history. Away is what it's called. So as they go away, of course, there are certain obstacles that happen on the spacecraft. Now, Josh Charles's character, Matt, he still works at NASA. He has a great engineering mind. He does all of this wonderful stuff. Of course, he's the one when they come up with a problem, he tries to figure it out. But of course, they don't really want him there because he's the husband and other things happen. Blah, 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 blah. Now, in addition to the things you would expect to happen in a space thriller, a lot of it is about us learning who these people are based on flashbacks. Each character has, in at least one episode, a flashback that tells us something about them. So we learn from Kwesi how he was adopted and so on, how that affected him. Because you're like, wait a minute, how is this black dude with a British dialect and he has the Jewish faith? How did that happen? So you learn that. It's a beautiful story, actually. Beautiful.
Yeah.
There's Misha. Remember, as the ref was hinting there, he's been in space the most. What was the cost? It was a heavy cost that he's still dealing with now. And then we come to Ram. Why does Ram have such a connection with Emma? Whatever Emma wants to do, even when she's going, I want to get off the spacecraft.
Yeah.
He's behind her. Why? You get a glimpse of why. And then we have you, who is like stone. But she has a son. She got a husband. She got some other stuff. And all of that is underneath the surface. There's even a moment where Emma goes to you and says, how do you do it? How do you keep your emotions in check? And you's like, essentially what you got to do is focus on why we're here. You are not a mother on this spacecraft. You're not. You got to be okay with your husband being a single parent. Close the door.
Boom.
So the question is, as we learn all of this information about them, and as they travel to Mars, will they make it? Will all of them make it? 1, 2, 3, 4? None? That's the question. And the major storyline here is, of course, Emma's family life. She's on the spacecraft, husband, daughter, or not. The daughter, again, is a teenager. You know what happens to teenagers. You know what happens. We all know what happens. And this takes me to my review.
Please.
If I'm watching a space show, I don't want a teen drama. Sorry. I want a space show. Now, everyone else's backstory outside of Emma told me something about them. Not their families. I don't care about their families. The exception is Emma's story, because of course they hired Josh Charles. Okay, he needs his due. And he works when he's at NASA and everything else. Okay, that's connected to Emma. It makes sense. This little girl, Alexis, I don't care about her love life. She's a freshman in high school. I don't care about that. I don't care about her feelings. I don't care about who's going to take care of her. I'm not watching the CW. I'm watching a space show. And all of that doesn't tell me anything about Emma. It doesn't tell me anything about her. Nothing. I'm learning about Alexis. The show is called Away. I wanted to be away from her. So, what I'll say is, outside of that, I like the show. That's why I finished it. I like them in space. I like learning about the main characters. And I think that it was smart to cast Josh Charles, honestly, to be the anchor back on Earth outside of Emma, because he's a good actor and he's grounded. He's just grounded. We saw that in The Good Wife. He doesn't do much, but you feel that he's solid. So it made sense how he and Hilary Swank could be married, because ain't everybody can be married to Hilary Swank, okay? So there was something there. I just wish that they knew that this show is about us learning about those 5 on the spacecraft. That's it, along with the challenges of being in space. It looks great. It does. When they're in the spacecraft, much of that works. So there you go. So if you are interested in this kind of show, if you are a space geek, if that's your thing, remember, this is more about the psychology of it. And by the way, it's executive produced by Jason Katims, who created Parenthood on NBC, that kind of thing. So you're going to get those little notes. Yeah, so just know that. It's not a scientific kind of thing, most of it. Some of it is. There's some challenges that you have to deal with. So just know, if you want that kind of balance, some sort of adult family drama in space, then that's what Away is. I just had to ignore the teenage stuff.
Okay, I have to dip in because I did watch it, and I want the viewers to see my viewpoint as well. Okay, so here's the deal. There's another space show on Netflix that I think is way more superb as far as family drama. So you talked about how you didn't really want the Earth stuff. as much as you wanted the space stuff, with the exception of Josh Charles. Lost in Space, to me, does such an amazing job of dipping back and forth the flashbacks, revealing who these people are out in space and who they were back, on Earth. And when I was watching Away, I had a really tough time, along with, some of the notes that you brought out. I had a tough time dipping back and forth because it's not like they wait until, a little bit late in episode 1. I mean, they just dive right in the back and forth of things. And I didn't care about anything that happened on Earth, nothing, until we at least got a good foothold, at least to the moon. And then obviously on the way to Mars. Also, I have to say this. The writing was challenging, very challenging, especially to the part where you alluded to with Hilary Swank having to make a big decision in the beginning of that first episode. Literally, that writing was like I'm sorry. It was like nails coming down because a lot of it didn't make sense. And if for me to enjoy a good space show, film, TV show, you have to, because I don't know much about space. I've never been there. Never been there. And I also am not a geek about it, meaning like, I just consume everything. Now, I love watching Hubbard's live feed and I love watching stuff like that. But as far as putting a narrative to it, if you don't get me with the writing, it's going to be a challenge. And so it was just like it was a nail out. I also wanted, for me, if you're thinking, is it, Sandra Bullock in Gravity? That's going to be some sort of, can you compare it? You not compare it to that, but, Hilary Swank carries the same weight. When you see her on a poster and you see she's going to space, she carries the same weight as Sandra Bullock would in Gravity because, we love Hilary Swank and she's an accomplished actress. I did not like how they wrote her character.
Yeah.
She's Hilary Swank, Boys Don't Cry and $1 Million Baby is not this Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a commander of not an American voyage, but an international voyage with some strong personalities, you'll see what happens. I just really didn't care for that. So for me, I think there are better things out there. And I'll agree with the critic. It is definitely, if you're into the space world, like really into it, I say proceed with caution. I'll give it 2 episodes, but for me, I gave it 2.5 episodes, and I had to leave it. I'll stick with Lost in Space. So there it is.
And just to encapsulate what you said with another show on the other end, because this isn't a family show. Like Lost in
but
Space,
there's a lot of family, but it is though. It
meaning
is,
little kids,
sense.
I would not have a little kid watch this.
No.
Whereas Lost in Space, you can do that. But on the other end of this, Ref, is on Apple TV Plus For All Mankind, another space show that gets into the psychology, but they do a better job. So this is somewhere in the middle. You get more of the action from Lost in Space than you would in For All Mankind, and then more of the drama For All Mankind than Lost in Space when it comes to relationships. It's somewhere in the middle. But just note what both of us said about this. You have some cautions, you have some arguments for it. It's up to you to determine whether it's for you, though. Thanks for listening. For additional resources, visit WhyWatchThat.com.
Good idea, and we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and leave comments, feedback, and you can rate us on iTunes.
We'll see you next week.
See you.